Welcome to the Bold Moves podcast. We are so glad that you've joined us today. This is episode 17. We are growing up fast. It's an amazing thing, and there are still dozens of us. It's part of a great community here. Yeah. This is really good.
It's unbelievable, honestly. Yeah.
We have a great episode planned today. We are diving into the topic of marriage and truly covenant culture because we've got Megan and LaMorris Crawford with us as special guests.
They're awesome.
I can't wait to talk with them. Yep. They are always great.
Yep.
And really, honestly, we're going to go, instead of like 5 good minutes like we normally do with guests, we're just going to lean into that today. Probably going to be closer to 15 good minutes because what they have is so good. And
it's unbelievable.
We've got both of them today. We've got LaMorris and Megan. So it's going to be even better than normal. So I say we dive right in and let's get our 15 good minutes in with LaMorris and Megan Crawford.
Let's do it.
We are so glad to have LaMorris and Megan Crawford joining us today on the Bold Moves podcast. Welcome, everybody. It's good to see you guys.
Hi.
Thanks for having us.
This is fantastic. Yeah. Hey, now, LaMorris, before we start, we have to have this important conversation. When we had Kevin on the first time, he was very upset that he wasn't our first guest on the podcast. You today are now the first repeat guest on the podcast. We cannot let Kevin know that. We cannot let him know.
Take that, Kevin. Jack, take that.
Yes.
I love it.
That makes me so happy. He cannot see this. He will be so angry.
He'll be ticked. He'll be absolutely ticked.
Oh, all right. Well, we just know that that's what we're dealing with. Those are the extenuating circumstances. Yep. It is so great to have you guys on. We're talking about marriage, and you guys have taken the dive. You are all in on covenant culture, and I love that. Talk us through that. You went through this decision. You're going to focus your ministry on marriages. What drove that? What are the needs that you're seeing that inspired you to make this jump?
Yeah, well, the Lord spoke to us and told us that he started our humanity with the marriage, and he's going to end it with one. And so that's how significant marriage is. And as a matter of fact, God didn't even establish redemption until marriage. And so it's the most important part, we believe, is the backbone and last line of defense for the kingdom of God.
Yeah.
So we felt it was a mandate for us. And I'll let you chime in, but we come from a pro athlete space where the divorce rate was nearly 75%.
Wow.
So we felt we had to do something about that. And then the divorce rate in the church at almost 50%. So man, we felt it was a call.
Yeah. And actually, I'm going to just throw this back to you, but I really liked what you shared about covenant. That's how we got to our name. I think that's important.
Yeah. You got to get in, you got to get out. That God cut a covenant with man. Yeah. And covenant is important in marriage.
Yeah. But the vulnerability.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Right.
Share it.
Well, you said it, so I'm not taking it from you, but we were just sharing actually on a podcast that we did that all covenant is something's revealed, right? Blood has to be shed.
Yeah.
And so marriage, this vulnerability, this space of like a fear of rejection, that is so just really in the forefront of a lot of relationships and marriages we've walked through life with and counseled, and being able to sit with them and discuss like, it's okay. So agape love is our driving force. So everyone has a fear of being rejected, right? Sure. Everyone has an issue with being vulnerable because pride puffs up. So our goal in this is to sit with people, walk through real life circumstances, real challenges. These things happen, but we want to sit with you and let you know you're not alone and that God has created marriage for more than that.
Yeah, that's exciting. So walk me through that, because I experienced this as a pastor. Like there's moments you do marriage counseling and things like that, and there are wins that you see where you're like, I love to see that God is doing that. And I know that you guys see people going through their struggles. You're also able to celebrate when they have successes. What are those driving factors? What gets you most excited and diving into the middle of things and helping people and seeing God work? What are the wins, man? Celebrate some of those wins with us.
Yeah, absolutely. Any small change in the marriage is a win.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
That's real good.
If you come and say that, well, we have a meeting normally once a week. In a pro space, we'll do twice a month. And if a woman would say, well, he didn't say that this time, you're like, right?
That's,
right? Or like, she didn't do this when I said this. Let's go, right? Because why? It's line upon line, precept upon precept, here a little, there. So in any small change that we could see in a marriage is a win.
Yeah.
Because you could build on that.
And you know this, but sitting with couples and watching and hearing their real life stuff is difficult. So from the beginning to the end, my kind of goal, or like way I take a temperature of it, where they are leaving, is how they are with each other. Because they usually start like far apart, right?
That's interesting.
Like during a prayer, they've got a hand, the body language is a huge part of communication, as y'all know.
Yeah.
And so for us is a major win to see that whatever bridge needed to be the gap needed to be bridged, it's making its way. So.
That's great. Okay, so I have to lean into that because, I think when we talk about having breakthroughs in our marriages, like, I'm going to have a super strong marriage, we all feel like there has to be this aha moment and this miracle moment or something massive happens. And that's this big, huge part of my story. But it's the little thing. It's the little moments, step by step. I love that. So what encouragement do you give to people? Like if there's someone watching today who they're just really struggling in their marriage and they're almost ready to give up, where do you start? Like what's the starting point to say, all right, it's time to start making those moves in the positive direction? Like what would you counsel someone in that space?
Yeah. Number one, we counseling believers hope. Hope is the start. God has been in a relationship fixing business since the garden.
Yes.
Oh, that's
God good.
Adam and Eve together established covenant, and then there was a problem.
Yep.
Right? That one decision plummeted all of human race.
Yes, it did. Yes, it did.
So what was the hope? God killed something to cover them. Oh, I'm about to preach.
Yes.
Blood was spilled to cover their sin. It was a prophetic picture of Jesus coming. So what was the hope in that moment? Something is coming that's going to redeem you.
Yeah.
So we tell every couple, as long as you're breathing, there's hope.
Yeah.
I like that.
So if you're struggling in your marriage and you're a believer, you can hold on to hope. Why? It's an anchor to the what?
It's anchor to the soul.
Anchor to the soul. So we can give people just a hope. Yes, it look grim. It's bad. It's ugly. But if we can get just a little bit of hope, that little hope God can transfer into a mountain of faith, right? Yeah. Faith for your marriage, faith for healing, faith for redemption, faith for restoration, faith for love.
Yeah.
That's good.
Marriage is the picture, the walking covenant on earth, right? We get to see marriage on earth through us. So as believers, that would, hope. But then if you are a believer, there's a great responsibility that comes with that. And so we just like to have those moments because when people see that it's bigger than them, it's about generations to come. It's about what their kids are going to experience and what their grandchildren are going to experience, all because of marriage first and being a picture of Jesus coming back for his bride.
Yeah.
Right. This is just such a beautiful representation and an honor.
Yeah.
And I think if you can get that with people that are believers, when you can talk to Christians and say marriage is bigger than what it feels like right now, what it looks like right now, what you're experiencing currently, it goes well beyond you, then we can get outside of the picture, right? And we can see that God's in all of it.
Yeah. And think about this. There's no new challenge to marriage.
Yeah.
Every marriage from the beginning of time faces the same things.
That's true.
The only thing that makes it different is because you're going through it.
Yes.
That's good.
Right?
That's
true, honestly.
Yes.
Yeah, that's good.
Right?
It gets real personal.
Yeah, it does. It gets personal. And guess what? Here's the beauty about grace. It's personal.
Oh, man.
It's the beauty about love.
You guys, that is so good.
Here's the beauty about forgiveness. It's personal.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right? We serve a personal God.
Yeah. And 9 times out of 10, like we can sit with a couple and say, we know this seems huge to you, but actually this is you guys are going to be fine, right? What looks like a huge mountain in your marriage and your relationship. We've watched this over and over and over and how God has healed it. And of course, it's not always the same way, but it's the same in the end, right? You're happy. You get to be together. You get to choose this together.
That's so good. Hey, so let me ask you this then. When you're walking through that moment where you're trying to give people hope and say, you've always got hope, what's a really practical, like, first step? Like, what's the mindset? What's the attitude? What's the foundational place where you get, husband and wife together in the same room and we agree we're going to start here? Like, is there a good starting point? What's that look like?
Change your words.
Yeah.
Change your words. All right. Explain everything.
I was going to say, even before that, though, decide you're going to change, right? We always say that the only reason relationship, a marriage ends is because one or both parties is refusing to change.
Wow.
So if you can make the decision that I'm going to change because I want to be better. First, my responsibility to the Lord, but now to you. And then, yes, of course, words are a huge part of that.
Yeah.
I have to have a responsibility of knowing, even though I'm talking to LaMorris, I'm not actually responding to him. That I am recognizing that everything I say is unto the Lord. He hears everything. He knows.
I do love that.
That's good.
That helps change and transform our marriage.
Yeah. The scripture says the power of life and death is in the tongue.
Yeah.
So whatever image your spouse is wearing, that's what you've been speaking over.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whoa. I love that. Change your words.
If I want change in this hopelessness in our marriage, instead of saying this ain't gonna make it, we're getting divorced. No. Change your language.
Yeah.
Man, God is for our marriage. Yeah. I love you. Like, words matter in marriage.
Yeah, they do.
So once words cross the border of your lips, you can never get them back.
Yeah.
Ooh. Yep.
So most marriages may start in trouble because of an action, but it's ongoing because what you speak in your marriage.
That is powerful. That's a great piece of wisdom. I've had questions, but I know you guys have questions. Kristen, you said you had all kinds of questions. What do you got for them?
Yeah, just in case.
I would say I'm most curious how you would counsel people like that maybe aren't going through the absolute like mountaintops and valleys in marriage, but the people that kind of just like plateau, like the roommate level, or
that's good.
You know, like we've been doing this for a while, we got it down, but you just kind of go steady.
Yeah, I think for us, like being able to see. It's really hard because you enter a space with people that you might not actually know where they're at, right? They're only sharing what they want to share.
Yeah, that's true.
But
that's true.
To understand that perspective, like how did we get here? Everything was fine, but now we're like roommates, right? How did we end up in this place? It's by recognizing first that you have all this seed that you've sown. And now you're in a spot where, what does this look like? This is all your seed. This is you created this, whether it was intentional or not.
Yeah.
Your stuff grew up, right? So now it's going to the root of it and saying, where was our foundation to begin with? Like, where did we start? Have we prayed together? Have we been worshiping together? Do we have our own relationship with the Lord first? And that's where we always start in marriage ministry anyways, which kind of throws people. But it's like, if your relationship with the Lord isn't good, this is not going to be what you want it to be anyway. Right? Like,
and I would throw on top of that is, keep the honey in the honey. Why we plateaued in our marriage? Yeah. If we serve a big God, there's no way our marriages should plateau.
It's true.
As a matter of fact, from marriage to year 50, you should be climbing. Right?
Yep.
And part of that is we allow more life in our marriage than the life of God in our marriage. Well, what do you mean by that, LaMorris? Business, work, kids, school, right? So then we doing this instead of this. Well, that's just life. Life is going to happen, right? But how do we allow the life of God in our marriage? He's the author of fun. He's the author of joy. He's the author of creativity. He's the right. So
and just to stay curious about one another. Right. Like this is not the same man that I met 20 years ago.
It's true.
I mean, we do change. We kind of forget
we absolutely do.
I love that.
Yeah. So sometimes I just go back to that. Like, well, you used to be like that. Well, that's not who you are now.
That's true.
Actually, this is funny. It was like Mike, when you were at your last position, we did a marriage conference for you. And remember Naked Tuesdays? I don't know if you remember the
I love Naked Tuesdays.
We better give context. We better give context to this. They both look at each other like,
I don't think we need an ounce of context, LaMorris. So just Naked Tuesdays and leave everyone hanging.
To be clear, we didn't record this on Tuesday. It dropped on Tuesday.
There you go.
But it was Naked Tuesday when we recorded the podcast.
Yes, that's good.
So I just shared this, and I actually promised that couple this sweet older couple.
Yes.
Asked them the success to the longevity of their marriage, right? They'd been married years and years.
Yeah,
and
like
years.
40 years.
And they were like, Naked Tuesday. And I was like, And so from then on, we have shared their story. And that is that every Tuesday, right? Pretty self-explanatory. Every Tuesday, they don't have clothes on. I was like, well, what about when your kids were in school? And they're like, well, as soon as we put them on the bus, we took our clothes off.
Clothes are off.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
Yeah.
Naked Tuesday.
So if you're talking about if you hit a plateau or stagnant in your marriage, institute activities that's going to get you out your comfort zone and make you laugh or walk around.
Yeah.
That's good.
Whatever it might be, right?
Yes.
You got to do something
Great
about it.
practical ways. I love that.
Naked Tuesday.
Naked
there it is.
Tuesday.
I think if everybody just applies that, you're not plateaued anymore. Everything's good.
That's right. Hey,
Everything's
and then if you want to take it next level, hey, we all grown here. We all married here.
What's happening?
You can do 2 a days. You feel me?
Yeah, we do like to.
I love the 2 a days.
Let's go.
the 2 a days.
You want to bring the honey back in the honeymoon? 2 a days. Jack, let's go.
And you don't need the summer for 2 a days like in football. It's all year round, man. The 2 a days. You can it's all year round.
And we do
No matter
that
what
as a challenge to couples, right?
Yep.
Especially if you struggle with intimacy or maybe the woman is an insecurity there or you don't feel. No. Show your wife how much you appreciate her mind, body, and spirit and get your 7 days in. You feel me?
I love it.
That's so good.
I so love it.
That's so good. Look at you, Kristen, asking the questions that get us to a really interesting place here. I like this.
I love it.
Thank you, Kristen. For
Mike,
that.
what about you, man? You got any questions?
I was sitting here, but my mind is just blown right now, as it always is when I hear from LaMorris and Megan. That I don't have a single question that I feel like
Naked
I could.
Tuesday just took you to a whole new level. You're like, yep, I got it covered.
Naked Tuesday is taking up all my brain power. So
That's so good.
Mike
That's so
needs to
good.
go home right now.
I was just
He's like, I gotta go.
Well, it's Thursday, but Naked Thursdays right now. It doesn't matter. It's fine. It's all good. So.
LaMorris and Megan, last thing. How about this? Someone just needs an encouraging word in their marriage today. What's that word of encouragement that you would give to someone who's just struggling? Let's end with that. What's the word of encouragement?
Ladies first.
Yeah. Well, you aren't alone, right? It could feel like y'all are alone. It can feel like one or both of you, it just isn't in it anymore.
Yeah.
That's a true thing. That's a real feeling, but you don't have to stay there, right?
Yeah.
There are people here to help you. You've got the Holy Spirit. God's in it with you. He has ordained marriage. He has a plan for your marriage.
Yeah.
And it obviously is far greater than you could ever think or imagine. And I love it because he really does watch over his word to see it, right?
Yeah.
It's getting performed before you. So this is just a part of your story.
Yep.
He's writing it. And this might be pictures. There might be really terrible pictures that you're seeing of your marriage right now, but it's not the whole film. And in the end, there will be this beautiful tapestry woven together.
that's
it's
good.
what God first.
That's
and
right.
got you.
Yeah. And we know the Bible already says, and the world understands this, Disney gets this. At the end of a movie, what's the last credit you see? And they lived
Happily
Ever
after. Yeah.
Well, we already know that God promised us that.
Yeah.
Yep.
So why not live life from the beginning with the end in mind?
Oh, that's good.
So my encouragement would be, remember the early days, the dating days, the engagement days, the early years of marriage when you were flirty and you would touch each other and you would laugh. Things were funny. Get back to why you fell in love in the first place.
Yeah.
Right?
That's
If
good.
you remember, prefix brought back. Go back to the member time of one another. Remember the love, the joy, the laughter, all that good stuff. That would be my encouragement.
Oh, that's such a good word.
Really good.
You guys, this has been so fun. Thank you for sharing this with us. Thank you for joining us for the podcast. You guys are awesome. And for everybody who's listening, you need to check out Covenant Culture because that's the real deal. You get more of this all the time. There it is. How about that for a shout out? Yeah, that's good.
That's so good. Thank you.
Hey, we love you guys. Appreciate it. Thanks again. Thanks for showing up on Bold Moves today.
Yes,
Thank
thanks
you so
for having
much.
us. And if you do want to make a bold move right at Bold Moves.
Yes.
Thanks, you guys.
No, I know.
You know what I mean? Make a bold move, the bold moves.
Yeah.
I like that.
We love
Plugs
y'all.
all around here
It's
today.
good.
Excellent.
It's good.
Excellent.
Thanks, you guys. We'll see you later.
Love y'all.
Peace.
Those were indeed 15 fantastic minutes with LaMorris and Megan. I
Unbelievable
love
15
every
minutes.
time we get a chance to spend time with them and talk with them, they always bring just such great wisdom. And I think they're doing exactly what God has called them to do. It's pretty evident. Any thoughts that you guys have before we land this plane today? Mike, Kristen, anything that stuck out to you?
I mean, I'm just jumping right in. Watch out, Kristen. Like partially because I'm inspired. I'm inspired right now by the Naked Tuesdays. That's like, so I mean, for me, that's what an incredible thing. So absolutely no, but just listening to them and the wisdom they have and just the clarity they have, it's just fantastic. And then they're already that great. And then you throw in the Naked Tuesdays. There's nothing better. So it's fantastic. Absolutely fantastic.
I love it. Did they answer all your questions, Kristen? What did you think?
Yeah. Well, I follow Megan online. And so I try not to
great.
like, I was saving things, I try to just like energy.
All right.
It's fun. I was not expecting the naked thing, which I mean,
it's great though.
Ideas.
There you go.
I mean, I think my husband will push for it, but I don't know.
Yes.
We'll see.
That is hilarious.
I love what they had to say about like hope and changing your words. And that's for me, sometimes I'm not a words of affirmation person, but my husband is. And
so that helps.
So just like even when we're not going through those mountaintop or valley experiences, like I know that's something I actively have to do, but maybe I'll go through less valley times if
you choose different words.
But that's
a good word. I want to come back to that whole idea that I think it's so powerful when you are struggling, when you're in a difficult spot in your marriage, to have that idea that they said that there's always hope.
Yes.
I think that if we can hold on to that and never forget that as long as we're both in this, there is hope. And you just have to choose. I'm going to be the change. And man, if you're struggling or if you're in a difficult spot in your marriage, may that be the encouragement today. There is hope. Keep pressing on. And I think we can all say with hope and certainty, if we lean into it, our best days in our marriages are in front of us.
Absolutely.
And that's exciting. We have that hope. So some good words, some good wisdom.
Awesome.
I think it's been a good podcast. I don't think we have anything else to add to that. We're just giving all props today to LaMorris and Megan. They did it. That's fantastic.
They did it.
So, hey, it might be time to make your bold move. And the bold move today might be change your words. The bold move today might just have hope. You can do this. God's with you, and he's faithful. Thanks for joining us. When it's time to make that move, be bold.